Hey, welcome back to my videos. Thank you so much for watching. Today, this video is going to be taking a store-bought cake and creating something spectacular for a birthday. Sometimes we don't have the time to bake. We either don't know how to bake or we run out of time. So this is what happened in this video. We ran out of time and we needed a spectacular cake. So firstly, I'm taking off all of the excess frosting that's on the cakes and keeping them because I want to use them again inside as a filling. They were quite delicious, so why waste and throw that away? But we need to restructure, so we are taking everything off and recreating. Our next step is going to put a little bit of frosting on my cake board like usual to make it stick. Put the first layer on. And we are going to level just a small bit of the first cake. The reason I'm doing that is I need a little bit of a level basis or a level side to the cake where I can stick the other one off. Because this cake is already a little bit of a different shape. It's going to be hard to create a cake out of that. So having a flat surface is going to help tremendously. My next step was to crumb coat. So I took a little cream cheese frosting to do my crumb coating with, and I'm just going around the cake with my spatula and filling up all of those holes to make sure we have an even cake right around. This really helps as a basis when decorating. If you have a nice and even crumb coat, it's so much easier to decorate when you do the next step. So as you can see, I'm just going around and leveling my cake out. The next step is filling those holes with some marshmallows and some jelly sweeties. And then that layer we took off, of course, we're not wasting. I am putting that right on top to level the top surface and to make sure we have another flat surface to work on. Again, just taking my small spatula, going around and cleaning up those sides, and then drop my cake into the fridge to firm up. Once that is done, I'm bringing it out and we are putting a final layer of frosting around this cake. This is just normal vanilla buttercream, American buttercream. So easy to do. You can find that on my website as well. I'll link that in the description below. But again, just using my spatula to evening out the sides. And then we're going to go in with my cake scraper to smooth that out and fill the holes and gaps. And we already have a very nice cake to start with. Originally, my cake needed to be pink and white. But sometimes decoration doesn't end up being exactly what you want. It ended up being more shades of pink. But that doesn't matter. I was happy. Either way, still filling up those sides. It took me quite a while, but hey, we're restructuring a cake from someone else's cake, so it might take a while. Again, I'm taking my cake and dropping it into the fridge to firm up for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just cleaning up that top. We're not going to do anything crazy with that. Moving on, as I told you guys, I wanted to do a white and pink cake and I wanted to do stripes, but I ran out of frosting. So I had to improvise. I started using the scraper that you use for stripes, but I ended up just doing it by hand, starting with one color and filling up with a lighter one, and that's how it ended up being just pink. And I'm fine with that. Sometimes that happens. This is a cake just for a friend. There was no specific way, a specific reason, or specific exact way this cake had to be decorated. So I just went on with what I had and continued filling those holes and gaps when I saw I didn't have enough white left or icing and buttercream left. I just went on making the cake shades of pink. And that's perfectly fine. This is my cake design. I can do whatever I want. And sometimes we forget that. We get very anxious about what we are doing and we forget to have fun. So the next step was to take the solid pink and just make a little wave at the bottom, an extra layer of frosting, if you will. And I will show you in a second what's going to happen with that frosting, because now we are going to fill that up and then just take a scraper and smooth it out. And already you can see it's almost like a fault line cake. And that is what I was going for and hoping for. Once I was happy with the way the frosting was just layered out, I took another scraper just to make that a little bit different design at the bottom. I think I just wanted to use some kind of scraper there. And then I took my little pearls and sprinkles, and on that line of extra frosting, it's a bit tedious, but you just take your time and put a lot of sprinkles around that line, and in the end it really made a huge difference to my cake, and I'm very happy that I took the time to do that. The first ones, I just started sticking them anywhere I thought it needed to be, and then with the second part I used some different colors of sprinkle round balls, and then the last part for the small one, I just dipped my finger in some milk and then into the smaller sprinkles, and just, as you will see in a second, just use my fingers to have that sprinkles pressed onto that line exactly where I wanted it to go. Like I said, this is really tedious to do, but this little extra time you take really makes the difference in your cakes. So do not skip this step. If you have a easier way or a faster way without having all of those sprinkles everywhere, please let me know. I'd love to see all of your own cake designs and all of your tricks. Just drop it in the comments below and I'll go check it out. But for this cake, it took a while, but I finally made that line perfect. This is the part where I started to use my finger just to get those smaller sprinkles right onto that line. I dipped my finger in a little bit of milk. You can do water as well. And just went all around the cake with that sprinkles. And as you can see, you can identify that line now so much easier. And that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted the two different structures or the two different textures to completely stand out. And then just to give my cake some height, I used my 1M tip, which I will link as well, and make little waves on top. I coated some marshmallows in silver luster dust and put them in between those ice cream swirls. And then I also had some of those sweeties left gummy sweeties left, and I decided to pop one on each of them just to show what's inside of our cake, because this cake definitely not shows off that it is a carrot cake. So I just used everything that was left and made it as pretty as I could. Lastly, I dropped in our happy birthday sign, cleaning up those sides and just making sure all of my marshmallows didn't fall off, giving them just a squeeze of frosting. And then once I was happy, I just cleaned it up by pressing little stars right around the surface to clean up that cake. Normally people do that at the bottom where the board is, but for this I decided to do on top. Once I was happy, my little happy birthday was ready to put in. I think I added some sprinkles in the middle as well, just to make it pretty. And that's it for our restructuring cake. Thank you for watching.